Okay, this gets dense, so I'm going to go quick. Schoolhouse Vineyards is owned and operated by John and Nancy Godner. They do all the farming by themselves, like by themselves. They also kind of do the winemaking, not super clear, but we'll get to that in a second. John is eighth generation San Franciscan. In the 30s, his dad was fraternity brothers with John Daniel Jr., whose family owned Inglenook, one of the historical estates of Napa. It was John Daniel who told John's dad to buy Schoolhouse Vineyard. It's an area of Spring Mountain District that those who know called the Banana Belt. This is a ridge about 1,500 feet above the valley floor, which gets warmer in the winter but stays cooler in the summer. A perfect situation for wine grapes. Now, at the time, Schoolhouse was entirely planted to grapes nobody plants anymore, like Golden Chasselat and what was called Mixed Black. He's also the Inglenook guy who gives the Gontners the Pinot Noir vines that are now planted in Schoolhouse, long rumored to be cuttings direct from Romney County. From the 50s to the 70s, they sold most of their fruit to Behringer and Ridge, but starting in 57, they started bottling their Pinot. Now, there's not a winery on the premises of Schoolhouse Vineyard. Fortunately, the Gontner family has lots of friends who have wineries. From 1957 to the mid-80s, it was made by the following people: Fred McRae from Stony Hill, Andre Tislichef at Buena Vista, Rick Foreman at Sterling, and Bo Barrett at Chateau Montelena. If you know anything about California wine history, you know this is a murderer's row of California winemakers. Since '98, it's been made at Pride, and possibly John and Alice make it, and the winemaker at Pride just looked after it, or vice versa. Or maybe the fruit is just so good that not much has to be done, and we all make this winemaking thing more complicated than it needs to be. Either way, Kelly White, in her definitive and very physically heavy work, Napa Valley Them Now, says about Schoolhouse, quote, Schoolhouse Vineyard is one of the more interesting and anachronistic brands in Napa Valley. Not only is it an outpost of old vine, dry farm, Pinot Noir, Zinfandel, and Chardonnay in the middle of Cabernet country, but it also has functioned for nearly 60 years with neither winery nor dedicated winemaker. And yet somehow, despite the transient nature of their manufacture, the wines of Schoolhouse Vineyard are some of the most consistent and characteristical in California. History in the bottle, indeed. So cool.